I find it absolutely hilarious that I post these pictures on the internet, on Facebook, where I have hundreds of friends, and I get the general impression that nobody ever views them. Kind of wonder about that sometimes, but it is my hobby, so I guess I should just do it because I get a kick out of it and not expect anybody to pay any real attention to what I'm doing. It's kind of just the way it goes anymore. And Lord knows, there is an awful lot of this kind of amateur and hobbyist photography on the net, and you can't watch everything and you can't view everything. It's kind of the way it goes. So what are you gonna do? I mean, I do understand that. This, by the way, is my neighborhood. This is the wonderful area that I live in. I told you that it is an industrial park, and for whatever reason, I seem to have spent the entire day, with the exception of a short time that I went and did some shopping, I spent the entire day sitting on my butt on the computer, not doing a hell of a lot of anything. And of course, but the only thing I have been doing has been trying to get information out of the East Coast about what's going on in New York post Hurricane Sandy. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not real thrilled with the quality of information we're getting. I feel like there's almost a news blackout of sorts, like they're underplaying the extent of the damage to the nation's most populated area. Now, I posted things, mostly through Twitter, mind you, about what's going on, and there is sufficient information, but it seems thin at best. Not too sure what to make of any of it, and it's a little disconcerting, to say the least. And of course, this is not my usual type of auditory video, because I'm actually doing two things at once here. I'm talking and showing you around my neighborhood both at the same time, which is not something I usually do. Yeah, that's my neighbor right there. Yeah, yes, my neighbor, if you can't tell, is BP, British Petroleum. The same company under a different name that authored the original overthrow of the elected Iranian government, which brought the Shah into power, which of course led to their Islamic revolution and the Ayatollah and all the problems we are having now with that fiasco. Anyway, this is going to be a rather long video, unfortunately, or fortunately, I don't know. I'm basically going to just throw it up on the system and put it up there. But anyway, British Petroleum is my neighbor. And, you know, kind of a strange thing. Not too sure what else to tell you tonight as I go for this little stroll around the area. Going to try and get some assistance going for the East Coast. Not too sure what I can do. Have posted a number of notices via Facebook and Twitter about different opportunities to pitch in and help. And I still get the impression that the enormity of the event is substantially larger than what one person can do. The Red Cross has been advertising on television all day today about emergency funding. But what we're hearing from the various sources on the street is somewhat different than what the Red Cross would like you to believe. One source said they did finally show up at some location at the end of the day with perishable sandwiches. A lot of this has to do with the nature of the Red Cross and what they're actually geared to deal with, and pretty much, in all honesty and with a certain amount of generosity towards the Red Cross, they are not geared up for anything of this size. They are best showing up at the scene of a house or apartment fire and rendering aid on a small scale. They're not set up to handle anything this large. They would like you to believe otherwise, but I've known a few Red Cross volunteers in my day, and that's the gist of what their normal response is. Something the size of this hurricane in an area as densely populated as New York is more than beyond the scope of what they are set up to handle. We're going to have to pretty much trust that the citizens of the city, county, and state of New York are going to have to handle this pretty much themselves with whatever assistance we can give them. That seems to be the gist of what I've been able to piece together reading through all of the information that I have gotten. And maybe that's why the information is somewhat thin and superficial. It could simply be that the official news agencies in the United States do not want the people of the United States to understand just how vulnerable they are. And they're along the same lines, including FEMA. They are not set well to handle something this large either. FEMA, from its onset under the Carter administration, was a grossly bad idea. I tweeted earlier today about how few FEMA employees have insurance through the government. That's because most FEMA employees, and I'll be honest with you, I only tweeted it based on the headline, because I've already investigated it in depth myself due to being involved in the hurricane relief in Ike and Houston back in 2008. I'm not too sure how to explain this. It basically boils down to most FEMA employees are part-time. It's a pretty squirrely situation. You sign up, and if they hire you, you're on this wait list in the event that there is an event where they need you, and then you're supposed to leave whatever job you have and go to work for them indefinitely, and then go back to whatever life you had prior to the event, which makes absolutely no sense to me whatsoever. I'm not too sure who ends up working for them under those stipulations, but that's also another issue when it comes to emergency management here in the United States. Bottom line is, when these things occur like this, in this current political environment, in these current fiscal times of pretty much squander for the sake of the corporate entities, where money is being funneled into these businesses without being accounted for, this is what we end up with. The few make a great deal off of this. This is another big business. And the majority, those who need the assistance, get very little at the bottom end. That seems to be the game plan almost all over the United States. Anyway, that's it for tonight for me. I thank you for going for this walk with me. I will talk to you later. As always, may your God go with you. Bye-bye for now.